First video ever. Ignore the stuttering and everything. It's just, I don't know, testing out. Ed Gain. Edward Theodore Gain was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin, United States. Ed's family consisted of his mother, Augusta Wilhelm Gain, his father, George Philip Gain, both of German descent, and his brother, Henry Gain. Gain's father worked as a carpenter, tanner, and firefighter, but soon left the city to live on a 155-acre farm in Plainfield, Wisconsin, which became their permanent residence. His mother, Alberta, was incredibly religious and often read the Bible to Ed and Henry, specifically the Old Testament and the Book of Revelation, usually regarding death, murder, and divine retribution, leading to Ed idolizing and obsessing over his mother. His father, George, was an abusive alcoholic and regularly beat him and his brother. His mother would turn outsiders away from Ed, only letting him leave to go to school and punishing for him to try to have friends, causing Ed to become isolated and unusual according to classmates and teachers. Ed was well off in school, particularly good at activities like reading. As Ed grew up, he only became more secluded and concerning. He would enjoy reading pulp magazines, enjoying ones involving cannibals or monstrosities. Eventually, something snapped in Ed. On a crisp early winter morning on the fateful day of November 16th, 1957, 58-year-old Bernice Warden, a Plainfield hardware shop owner, disappeared. A few customers came that day, but around 5 p.m., Warden's son, the deputy sheriff, Frank Warden, came to his mother's shop to find an open cash machine and bloodstains running on the floor. They found Bernice's body later. She was decapitated, hung by her legs and fortunately, she was killed by a .22 caliber rifle, killing her painlessly. After searching Ed's house, the police found bones, skin, and masks made of human skin, which told about the horror house. On November 14th, Ed was found guilty of the murder of Warden, but a professional psychiatrist found him unable to tell if the murderer was intentional or not, so a second trial was necessary. After his second trial, he was ruled not guilty by reason of insanity and was deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial, so he was thus sent to the Central Hospital for the Criminally Insane. He then spent the rest of his life in the institute. John Wayne Gacy. John Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown, was an American serial killer and offender who and murdered at least 33 young men and boys between 1972 and 1978. John was born at Edgewater Hospital, Chicago, Illinois, on March 17, 1942, the second of 3 children and the only son of his parents, John Stanley Gacy and Marion Elaine Robinson. Gacy was of Polish and Danish descent with a Catholic religion, but grew up exclusively in the United States. Gacy was overweight and unathletic as a young child due to a heart condition. He couldn't play any sports. Gacy was as close to his mother and 2 sisters as his father was abusive verbally and physically. Gacy's father beat him, his earliest memories being of his mother protecting him from his father's abuse, being called dumb, stupid, a sissy, and told he'd grow up queer and a mama's boy. He was whipped after his father found him and another boy doing explicit actions with another girl. Gacy loved his father, but he never felt good enough. As a younger adult, Gacy was interested in politics, becoming the assistant precinct captain for the Democratic Party candidate. Others of his jobs include the Las Vegas Ambulance Service, Palm Mortuary, embalming bodies, management trainee at the Nunn Bush Shoe Company, and many other jobs, notably including Pogo the Clown, where he'd show up as children's hospitals and other events, leading to his name. One day, Gacy did something that would change the lives of many forever, including his. On January 3rd, 1972, following a family meeting, Gacy led a 16-year-old Timothy Jack McCoy to his car and to his house with a promise of allowing him to stay the night. Gacy claimed that the next morning he woke to McCoy holding a knife in his doorway. Gacy disarmed him, and after a fight, McCoy was dead on the floor with multiple stab wounds to the chest. Gacy later claimed it gave him a mind-numbing orgasm, and that was when he decided death was the ultimate thrill, leading to many other abhorrent murders. On February 6, 1980, Gacy was charged with 33 murders, was found guilty on all counts, and was sentenced to death. At death row, he waited for 14 years. Each day could have been his last. His final meal was a bucket of KFC, French fries, a dozen fried shrimp, fresh strawberries, and a Diet Coke. That evening he was given his last rites from a Catholic priest and was lethally injected, his final words being "kiss my ass," a cowardly ending for a troubled man. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on May 21st, 1960. He was the oldest of the two sons of Lionel Dahmer and Joyce Dahmer, a research chemist and a teletype machine instructor, respectively. Dahmer was of Welsh, Norwegian, Irish, and German ancestry, his father being German and Welsh and his mother being Irish and Norwegian. Multiple sources say Dahmer was deprived of attention at a young age. His mother was known as tense and greedy for attention most of the time. Dahmer was a happy and energetic child, but quiet and timid at school, displaying signs of abandonment due to his father's work and his mother's multiple illnesses. By 1966, the family moved to Doylestown, Ohio. His mother gave birth to his younger brother David around that time. Early on, Dahmer portrayed interest in dead animals, notably thrilled at the sight of bones and asking questions such as, "What if chicken bones were placed in bleach?" which was unfortunately interpreted as scientific curiosity. Dahmer was known as the class clown, staging pranks such as staging seizures or cerebral palsy at local stores. Once, at a class trip, Dahmer convinced the White House to allow him and his class to do an impromptu tour of the building. Dahmer was noted drinking alcohol outside of school after graduating high school due to a bad home life and unfortunate circumstances. On June 18, 1978, Dahmer decided to allow a hitchhiker, Stephen Mark Hicks, to catch a ride with him, and both agreed that they could go to Dahmer's house and have a few beers. After seeing Hicks' bare chest, Dahmer said that he felt feelings towards Hicks, but after Hicks started speaking about girls, all feelings were lost. After a few hours of drinking and chatting, Hicks decided he wanted to leave. Dahmer didn't want him to leave. He proceeded to bludgeon Hicks with a 10-pound dumbbell, him to death. Later, he decided to towards the dead body. He then dissected Hicks' corpse in his basement, dissolved his body in acid, and poured the solution down the toilet. This was the start of killings prominent years later. Dahmer was brought to court on January 30th, 1992 for 15 counts of murder, to which he pleaded guilty on all counts. The trial lasted 2 weeks and ended with a life imprisonment on May 1st, 1992. On July 3rd, 1994, inmate Osvaldo Dorothy attempted to slash Dahmer's throat with a razor as Dahmer sat in the prison chapel. On November 28, 1994, Dahmer left his cell to conduct mandatory work when Jesse Anderson and Christopher Scarver bludgeoned him to death with a metal pole. He died a few hours later. Upon his death, Dahmer's mother made a statement. "Is everyone happy now? Now he's been bludgeoned to death. Is that good for everyone?" Dahmer died, a man who hurt more than he helped, a man who left Milwaukee in pain. Samuel Little. Disclaimer, sorry about this one. Wikipedia on Samuel was very short. Samuel Little was born on a McDowell on June 7th, 1940 in Reynolds, Georgia. His mother, Bessie May, was a maid and his father was Paul McDowell, a 19-year-old man. Little confirmed he had fantasies of strangling women even at a young age after watching his kindergarten teacher touch her neck, leading him to collecting true crime magazines later with images of strangulation of women. Samuel moved to Florida to live with his mother in the 1960s after being convicted of breaking and entering in 1956 and being moved to juvenile detention center. Later on, he committed several obscene crimes such as rape, assault, and others, taking up boxing during his time in prison. In 1982, Little murdered 22-year-old Melinda Rose Lepre by strangulation. After court issues, Little was tried for the murders of Alfred, Nelson, and Apocada in September 2014 and was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. He later died at the age of 80 in 2020, December 30th. Disclaimer, this one's pretty vile. I don't know if you want to listen to this, but if so, that's your choice. Hamilton Howard Albert Fish. Albert Fish was a deranged man. We'll get into that soon. Fish was born in May 1870 to Randall Fish and Ellen Frances Howell in Washington, D.C. His father, Randall, was 75 years old, 43 years older than Fish's mother, who was 32. Fish was the youngest child and had 3 siblings, Walter, Annie, and Edwin. He wished to be called Albert from a dead sibling and to escape an unfortunate nickname. Fish's family had a history of mental illnesses, mania, schizophrenia, and a mental affliction in many of his relatives, including his sister and half-brother. On October 16, 1875, Fisher's father suffered from a heart attack, killing him. After this, his mother began to beat him, causing Fish to enjoy the beatings to cope with them. By the age of 12, Fish was in a relationship with a telegraph boy, introducing him to practices like eating feces and drinking urine. He also started writing obscene letters to women from names in advertisements. By the age of 20, Fish moved to New York City, where he engaged in male prostitution and the and raping of boys that were as young as 6 years old. Fish later started an incident with a male lover, ending with them at a wax museum and him getting interested in the dissection of a human penis, causing Fish to become wildly interested in mutilation. In 1970, Fish met a 19-year-old man named Thomas Beddens. He took Beddens to his house and started a sadomasochistic relationship with him, but Fish implied Beddens may have had mental disabilities. After 10 days of this relationship, Fish took Beddens to a farmhouse where he Beddens for 2 weeks, reminiscing in the look he was given and Beddens' screams. After the 2 weeks, Fish ran like a coward, leaving no trace of his actions. On May 28, 1928, Fish committed something so obscene and abhorrent it disgusts people to this day. Fish came to the residence of Edward Budd under the pretense of hiring him when he met Budd's 10-year-old sister, Grace Budd. After meeting her, he decided what he was going to do. He lured the girl to an abandoned house that he pre-organized, her to death, and then ate her body. This truly makes my heart ache, I warned you. After this, Fish, being the sick man he is, wrote a letter to the scared mother of Grace that reads so disgustingly I would rather not read it, but you can find it online. His trial began on March 11th in 1935, ending with the jury not doubting he was insane, but believing he deserved execution anyway. They sentenced him to death by the electric chair. After the starting of this machine, he died 5 minutes later, his final words being so obscene and vile his lawyer refused to show them to the public, ever. Thanks for watching the video. I'm quite worried about putting my voice online, but that's kind of the thing. I gotta get confident. Bye. Subscribe if you think that's cool.